Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय निताय गौरंगा जय निताय गौरंगा निताय गौरंगा जय निताय गौरंगा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto chapter 3 text numbers 1 to 5. We'll just we'll repeat the verses, just one because there are just so many verses, and then I'll read the rest of the verses 4 to 5. Please repeat after me. Shri Shuka Uvacha Shri Shuka Uvacha Atha Sarva Gunopetaha Atha Sarva Gunopetaha Kalaha Paramashobanaha Kalaha Paramashobanaha Yarhi Eva Jana Janmarksham Yarhi Eva Jana Janmarksham Shantarksha Gruhatarakam Shantarksha Gruhatarakam Shri Shuka Uvacha Atha Sarva Gunopetaha Kalaha Paramashobanaha Yarhi Eva Jana Janmaksham Shantarksha Gruhatarakam Shri Shuka Uvacha Atha Sarva Gunopetaha Kalaha Paramashobanaha Yarhi Eva Jana Janmarksham Shantarksha Gruhatarakam. Matajis. Shri Shuka Uvacha Atha Sarva Gunopetaha Kalaha Paramashobanaha Yarhi Eva Jana Janmarksham Santarksha Gruhatarakam. Shri Shuka Uvacha Atha Sarva Gunopetaha Kalaha Paramashobanaha Yarhi Eva Jana Janmarksham Santarksha Gruhatarakam. I'll read verses 4 to 5. Maybe you can just repeat once after me. Disha prasedur gaganam Nirmalodhu ganodhayam Mahimangala Bhuyishtha Puragrama Vrajakara Nadya Prasanna Shalila Hruda Jalaruha Shriyaha Dvijali Kula Sannadha Stavaka Vanarajayaha Vavavayuhu Sukasparshaha Punyagandavaha Suchihi Agnayascha Dvijatinam Shantas Samindhata Manamsi Asan Prasannani Sadhunam Asuradruham Jayamane Ajanatasmin Nedur Dundubaya Samam. Word to word translation. Sri Shuka Uvacha. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, Atha, on the occasion of the Lord's appearance, Sarva, all round, Guna Upetaha, endowed with material attributes or facilities, Kalaha, a favorable time, Paramashobanaha, all auspicious and very favorable from all points of view. Yarhi, when, eva, certainly, Ajana Janma Raksham, the constellation of stars known as Rohini, Shantaraksha, none of the constellations were fierce, all of them were peaceful. Grihatarakam, and the planets and stars like Ashwini, Dishaha, all directions, Praseduhu, appeared very auspicious and peaceful. Gaganam, all of outer space or the sky. Nirmala Udhu Gana Udayam, in which all the auspicious stars were visible. In the upper strata of the universe. Mahi, the earth. Mangala Bhuyishta Puragrama Vraja Akaraha, whose many cities, towns, pasturing grounds and mines became auspicious and very neat and clean. Nadayaha, the rivers. Prasanna Salilaha, the waters became clear. Hrudaha, the lakes or large reservoirs of water. Jalaruha Shriyaha, appeared very beautiful because of blooming lotuses all around. Dvija Alikula Sannadastavakaha, the birds, especially the cuckoos and swarms of bees, began to chant in sweet voices. As if praying to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vana Rajayaha, the green trees and plants were also very pleasing to see. Vavav, bliv. Vayuhu, the breeze. Sukasparshaha, very pleasing to the touch. Punya Gandavahaha, which was full of fragrance. Suchihi, without pollution by dust. Agnayaha cha, and the fires at the place of sacrifice. Dvijatinam, of the Brahmanas. Shantaha, undisturbed, steady, calm and quiet. Tatra, there. Samindata, blazed. Manamsi, the minds of the Brahmanas, who because of Kamsa had always been afraid. Asan, became. Prasannani, fully satisfied and free from disturbances. Sadhunam, of the Brahmanas who are all Vaishnava devotees. Asuradruham, who had been oppressed by Kamsa and other demons disturbing the discharge of religious rituals. Jayamane, because of the appearance or birth. Ajane, of Lord Vishnu, who is always unborn. Tasmin, in that situation. Neduhu, resounded. Dundubayaha, kettle drums. Samam, simultaneously, from the upper planets. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Thereafter, the auspicious time for the appearance of the Lord, the entire universe was surcharged with all the qualities of goodness, beauty, and peace. The constellation Rohini appeared, as did stars like Ashwini. The sun, the moon, and other stars and planets were very peaceful. All directions appeared extremely pleasing, and the beautiful stars twinkled in the cloudless sky. Decorated with towns, villages, mines, and pasturing grounds, the earth seemed all auspicious. The rivers flowed with clear water, and the lakes and vast reservoirs, full of lilies and lotuses, were extraordinarily beautiful. In the trees and green plants, full of flowers and leaves, pleasing to the eyes, birds like cuckoo and swarms of bees began chanting with sweet voices for the sake of the demigods. A pure breeze began to blow, pleasing the sense of touch and bearing the aroma of flowers. And when the Brahmanas, engaging in ritualistic ceremonies, ignited their fires according to Vedic principles, the fires burned steadily, undisturbed by the breeze. Thus, when the birthless Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was about to appear, the saints and Brahmanas, who had always been disturbed by demons, like Kamsa and his men, felt peace within the core of their hearts, and kettle drums simultaneously vibrated from the upper planetary system. Purport. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that His appearance, birth, and activities are all transcendental, and that one who factually understands them is immediately eligible to be transferred to the spiritual world. The Lord's appearance or birth is not like that of an ordinary man who is forced to accept a material body according to his past deeds. Lord's appearance is explained in the previous chapter. He appears out of his own sweet pleasure. When the time was mature for the appearance of the Lord, the constellations became very auspicious. The astrological influence of the constellation known as Rohini was also predominant because this constellation is considered very auspicious. Rohini is under the direct supervision of Brahma, who is born of Vishnu, and it appears at the birth of Lord Vishnu, who in fact is birthless. According to the astrological conclusion, besides the proper situation of the stars, there are auspicious and inauspicious movements due to the different situations of the different planetary systems. At the time of Krishna's birth, the planetary systems were automatically adjusted so that everything became auspicious. At that time, in all directions, east, west, south, north, everywhere, there was an atmosphere of peace and prosperity. Auspicious stars were visible in the sky, and on the surface, in all towns and villages or pasturing grounds, and within the mind of everyone, there were signs of good fortune. The rivers were flowing full of water, and the lakes were beautifully decorated with lotus flowers. The forests were full with beautiful birds and peacocks. All the birds within the forest began to sing with sweet voices, and the peacocks began to dance with their consorts. The wind blew very pleasantly, carrying the aroma of different flowers. And the sensation of bodily touch was very pleasing. At home, the Brahmanas, who were accustomed to offer sacrifices in the fire, found their homes very pleasant for offerings. Because of disturbances created by the demoniac kings, the sacrificial fire had been almost stopped in the houses of Brahmanas. But now they could find the opportunity to start the fire peacefully. Being forbidden to offer sacrifices, the Brahmanas were very distressed in mind, intelligence, and activities. But just on the point of Krishna's appearance, automatically their minds became full of joy because they could hear loud vibrations in the sky of transcendental sounds proclaiming the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. On the occasion of Lord Krishna's birth, seasonal changes took place throughout the entire universe. Krishna was born during the month of September, yet it appeared like springtime. The atmosphere, however, was very cool, although not chilly, and the rivers and reservoirs appeared just as they would in Sharat, the fall. Lotuses and lilies blossom during the day, but although Krishna appeared at 12 o'clock midnight, the lilies and lotuses were in bloom, and thus the wind blowing at that time was full of fragrance. Because of Kamsa's disturbances, the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies had almost stopped. The Brahmanas and saintly persons could not execute the Vedic rituals with peaceful minds. But now the Brahmanas were very pleased to perform the daily ritualistic ceremonies undisturbed. The business of the Asuras is to disturb the Suras, the devotees and Brahmanas. But at the time of Krishna's appearance, these devotees and Brahmanas were undisturbed. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Enam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Itinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaurabhaktaranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we see here, it is very timely that just before Janmashtami, we're reading the chapter of the birth of Lord Krishna. We see here, when the Lord was ready to appear, the whole world became very auspicious. Right? And there was very pleasant fragrance everywhere. Everybody was feeling very peaceful and calm. The birds and were singing, and bees were swarming around. Lotuses were blooming everywhere. A very auspicious atmosphere. And Srila Prabhupada showed us how this auspiciousness can be invoked in our lives actually on a daily basis. We don't have to wait for Janmashtami to come every year. Right? How can you invoke this auspiciousness? By chanting the holy names of the Lord, which are actually non-different from Krishna. In 1917, one Carl joined the Gainesville, Florida temple. He was, in those days, anybody came and said, I want to join. He said, yeah, come. And they would just put him straight into the Brahmacharya ashram. But he was a little troubled soul. He was taking drugs regularly, and even after he joined, the effect of those drugs was still there. Suddenly he would get very erratic and and jump around, and he would like swoon around, like sit and do like this. And actually devotees were afraid of him. And suddenly he would shout and create a lot of disturbance, and people didn't know what is going to happen when. And they were all like talking. They said, this is a little too much. Carl was at a level that even in those days he was a little beyond the reach of normal devotees. And usually in this case they would have said, just go home, come back, come to temple once in a while, like that. At that time the temple president was Satswarup Das Goswami. He somehow took pity on him. He called him to his office and told him, listen, next 3 days, here, take this Japamala, just sit and chant Hare Krishna, and don't do anything else. I don't want you to go outside anywhere, just sit and chant. And we'll give you prasadam, you eat prasadam, sit and chant. Nothing else. And for 3 days, he just sat very diligently. He would do this and that, but then still he would continue to chant and chant and chant and chant. 3 days. And he was in his room. And at the end of the 3rd day, they noticed, he had calmed down very, very significantly. He was calm and peaceful. Peaceful enough that they let him back into the temple. And he continued chanting. He continued becoming, fixed up. That was 1970. The devotee is still there. His name is Kalakanta Das. And very fixed up and, doing a lot of service and all that. Can you imagine the power of the holy name? How it can transform our lives. we sometimes we take this for granted, and we do not understand the importance of what Prabhupada has given us. And how such a simple thing can bring all auspiciousness in our lives. That is why we always keep saying, Krishna consciousness is not about, removing things. I remember when I initially started my spiritual journey, when I was a high school student, I was facing a lot of difficulties in controlling my mind. I would get very carried away by things. And so that is why I was, I wanted to, I should, become a peaceful, calm person like that. But then, everywhere Prabhupada was telling, because that time I was not in touch with devotees. Just chant Hare Krishna and everything will become all right. You just read any page of I was just reading Krishna book, any page you turn and read, there will be somewhere Prabhupada says, chant Hare Krishna. And I just had faith and started doing that. It was just transformational. So when Prabhupada first landed in Boston, he wrote this in the Boston Harbor on September 18, 1965. Prabhupada wrote this Markine Bhagavata Dharma. It's a very interesting verses over there that are very, very connected to this. I'll just read. I think this is written in Bengali, so I'm not good at reciting Bengali, but I'll try. Baro Krupa Kaile Krishna Adamer Prati Ki Lagi Yanile Heta Koro Ebe Gati. My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul, but I do not know why you have brought me here. Now you can do whatever you like with me. Ache kichu karja taba e anumane nahe kenu aniben e ugrasthane. What ugra is being used. But I guess you have some business here. Otherwise, why would you bring me to this terrible place? Prabhupada is describing America as ugra, terrible place. Rajas tamo gune era sabhai achanna. Vasudev kata ruchi nahe se prasanna. Most of the population here is covered by the material modes of ignorance and passion. Absorbed in material life, they think themselves very happy and satisfied, and therefore they have no taste for the transcendental message of Vasudeva. I do not know how they will be able to understand it. Tabe jari kaba krupa hoy ahetuki. Sakali sambhava hoy tumi se kautuki. But I know your causeless mercy can make everything possible because you are the most expert mystic. Ki bhave bujhale tara bujhe sei rasa. Eta krupa koro prabhu kori nija bhasha. Nija bhasha. How will they understand the mellows of devotional service? O Lord, I am simply praying for your mercy so that I will be able to convince them about your message. Tumara ichai sabha hoy maya bhasa. Maya bhasa. Maya bhasha. Tumara ichaya nasha mayara Parasha. All living entities have come under the control of the illusory energy by your will. And therefore, if you like, by your will, they can also be released from the clutches of illusion. Taba ichcha hoy jari tarera uddhar, bujibe nischai tabe katha se tumar. I wish that you may deliver them. Therefore, if you so desire the deliverance, then only will they be able to understand your message. Bhagavatera katha se taba avatar, dhira haya shune jari khane bar bar. The words of Srimad Bhagavatam are your incarnation, and if a sober person repeatedly receives it with submissive oral reception, then he'll be able to understand your message. Shrunvatam sukata Krishna punya shravana kirtanaha hrudayantasto hi abhadrani vidunoti suhrut satam nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki tada rajastamo bhavaha kama lobhadayaschaye cheta etair anavidhim viddham sitam satve prasidati evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti bhagavad tattva vigna bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavad tattva vignanam mukta sangasya jayate vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarva samshayaha kshiyante chasya karmani drushta evatmanishvare. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1:17-21. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who relishes his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regularly hearing the Bhagavatam and rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is practically destroyed, and loving service unto the glorious Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. At the time loving service is established in the heart, the modes of passion, rajas and ignorance, tamas, and lust and desire, kama, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes happy. Thus established in the mode of goodness, the man rejuvenated by loving service to the Lord gains liberation from material association, mukti, and comes to know scientifically of the personality of Godhead. Thus the knots of the heart and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions, karma, is terminated when one sees the self as master. Rajastamo hate tabe paibe nishthar hrudayer abhadra sab guchibe tahar. He will become liberated from the influence of the modes of ignorance and passion, and thus all inauspicious things accumulated in the core of the heart will disappear. Ki kore bujhabo kata baro sei chahi kudra ami dina hina kono shakti nahi. How will I make them understand this message of Krishna consciousness? I am very unfortunate, unqualified, and the most fallen. Therefore I am seeking your benediction so that I can convince them, for I am powerless to do so on my own. It just goes on a little bit more, but I want to just stop here. So how Prabhupada is bringing out that when we put Krishna into our lives through reading Bhagavatam, to chanting Hare Krishna, by associating with devotees, by obviously chanting, and by having darshan and prasadam, then the Rajoguna and Tamoguna in our hearts gets thrown out. And the Lord will rise within our hearts. Just like Krishna was born to Devaki and Vasudeva. Our heart has to be made as a suitable place for the Lord to appear and shine forth with full brightness. So, devotees really have to take these verses to heart, and what Prabhupada, why Prabhupada is quoting them, and then in Bengali also is reiterating that he'll become liberated from the influence of the modes of ignorance and passion. And thus all inauspicious things accumulated in the core of the heart will disappear. So we all understand this. We all try to apply this in our lives. But then sometimes it is a little confusing because this journey takes time. It can happen, Prabhupada, many places it says it can happen in an instant, one time. In an instant you chant Hare Krishna, your whole heart can get cleansed. But the reality is that for most of us, we are so attached to our own anarthas. Right? We are harboring them. The holy name cleanses our heart and we put back dirt in our heart. And somebody is, shoveling this way and then going back and putting back from the other side. Right? Sometimes it happens in a festival and a lot of people are doing things. Somebody is cleaning this side, somebody is putting back from the other side. Right? Like that, we are holding on to these things. See, but one should understand that by our prarabdha karma, we are born into certain modes of material nature. Right? We all have certain amount of sattva guna, and that is why we have a human birth. Right? There is a threshold level of sattva guna that is needed to be called a human being. If somebody has less than that, then they're relegated into the animals. But there is a wide range. Now, when we take to devotional service, overnight, these forces of our prarabdha karma are not going to go away. But we have to work, we have to be cognizant, we have to work hard, and we have to, they say, right, make the best use of the bad bargain. And have faith that the process of Krishna consciousness will transform our hearts, inside out. Big transformation will happen. Just little patience is needed. At the same time, we should also understand our individual situations. You can't just say, oh, what to do, I'm like this, and just keep doing nonsense. Right? That is considered negligence. And there are reactions for that, especially in the association of Vaishnavas. Invariably, our exhibition of Rajoguna and Tamoguna will lead to challenges, which devotees will tolerate, but the Lord doesn't, if you keep hurting Vaishnavas. So one has to be very careful, thoughtful about this. And I think that just the being cognizant, being thoughtful about that can help one advance faster. Right? And each of us know that our exhibition of the different modes, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, is dependent on Kala. It's not that everybody, is the same all the time. Right? Don't we all go through our own ups and downs? Sometimes we are in a very nice consciousness, sometimes we are not. We have to deal with all these ups and downs that come out in life. And it's very, sometimes, just the fact that you're careful, you're thoughtful, you'll see the Lord will give you dadame buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Even in the scientific terminology, they call it as have you heard of the limbic system? When they study the human brain, like the stem of the brain, like when the nerve endings end, there is something called a limbic brain. It's a very small size of this thing. They've done research on this thing. Like that core, that limbic brain is responsible for all these, like quick animalistic reactions, like flight and flight, what is that? Flight and fight, right? Like very quick reactions to these things and all that, because that's a survival mode. Suddenly, if this is very useful for animals, because they're always in fear. Suddenly somebody can attack you from any direction, and then you should be able to quickly react and run and this and that, whatever. That is the limbic brain. And then the higher and higher cognitive abilities are built beyond that. Right? Sometimes, it's a very funny thing, very peculiar thing. I have noticed this myself. Like when you sleep, especially in the afternoon or something, get up. For the first few minutes, I have noticed only your limbic brain is active. So what happens with the limbic brain is you tend to overreact to situations because you're afraid of everything, right? Any input comes and you're like, they say, right? Ili hoitu andre huli hoitu. A rat has gone, but you will say a lion has gone. You act as if a lion has gone. I mean, just because a rat comes, there is a way to react to a rat. But a different way, if a lion comes, you should react in a different way. But if you react the same way, is not necessary. It just creates confusion. So, I've noticed this, and then I'm slowly this thing saying, okay, when I just get up, I should not do anything. Don't talk to people. Don't wait for your brain to boot up completely. Because your brain is really not booted up. Only a limbic brain is booted up, and now if you start acting, you will behave like a reptile or this thing or an animal, which because you don't have, the reality is you're in a machine. You are in a machine, and that machine is bound by rules. You can't suddenly say, I am this, I am trans. You're not. And so you have to wait for a few seconds, like when you reboot a computer or something, it just takes for some time. Slowly, that Windows sign will come up, and then wait for, you try to hit some buttons, like when you have tried, everything will freeze. Nothing will work. Little bit patience you have, everything will boot up. Now it will start behaving like a normal system. So like this, not just that, there are other parts of our lives are like that. Each of us has trigger point, they call it trigger, different things. We have to be careful to not exhibit Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Because ultimately, the problem with this is, that, you see, somebody is very sattvic by birth. There are many people, right? Very calm, very peaceful, very this thing. What is the problem of very sattvic people? Huh? Exactly. They can immediately the gap between Tamoguna and Rajoguna and Sattvaguna is very, like, you can't make out also. You're calm and peaceful, and now you're sleeping nicely and wasting your time. You won't even know the difference, and you look at the person also, he'll be saying, but then he might be sleeping. Time is wasted. Energy is wasted, which is ultimately a big problem. Right? So Rajoguna people, full of action, always action happening. But what is the problem with Rajoguna? As Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says 50-50. 50% correct, 50% wrong. Right? Unnecessary energy is dissipated in wrong things. Right? So that person has to be careful about putting themselves in Sattvaguna. Right? Tamoguna is not so much of a problem. Rajoguna itself is a problem. For a person who is in Tamoguna, most of the time, they have to actually try to get into Rajoguna, because Rajoguna is better than Tamoguna. Right? And then obviously try to elevate to Sattva-guna. The transition happens. So like this, one has to be careful. Let us all, with Janmashtami coming up, let us all purify our hearts so that Krishna can appear in our hearts as well with his full glory and bring about all auspiciousness and wonderful situation everywhere. We'll stop here. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Bol Premanande.